I always look forward to the start of the river season, and I started off by targeting barbel, chub and carp on the river, but it was the carp that kind of captured my imagination this time round. Look at him. What a beautiful river carp. Moving around the river, saw an opportunity, put stronger tackle on, and this absolute belter came over the net. So what a fish that was, what a great start. Like I said, that had captured my imagination for the carp. I was now going to move around the river, just fishing with pellets. You know, looking for some likely spots, baiting them up with a couple of handfuls of pellets, then carefully placing a rig on that. Short sessions, see how many of these I can pick off. Look at that, look. Perfect rod rest. Just use my bag. The fish picks it up, goes that way and cast down to my left. Tip will go round to the left and that'll just push against the bag, look. Perfect. One of the most important things on the river is to stay mobile, scale everything back. You know, you don't need much stuff. Over the years, I've built up a bit of a picture of where the carp are likely to be, given the time of year and the conditions. They'll often spawn towards the end of the close season. I can't 100% predict exactly where that is going to be, but I have got a good idea. They move into certain areas to spawn. Then they tend to hold up there for a while. Having said that, they're not completely predictable. They can be quite tricky. Once they've drifted out of those areas, the best thing you can do is stay mobile, have a decent pair of Polaroids, and just keep searching, keep looking for them. They might not have gone too far, and yeah, hopefully pick off a few. Jesus Christ, come on. Oh, these river carp are made of different stuff. That was in the water 5 minutes. How crazy is that? The thing is, when they get in this flow, it's bloody strong. Keep the fish moving. God, this one's giving me a right run around. They are so strong in this flow. It's unbelievable. You get him up. Oh yeah, got him. Oh, that wasn't pretty, but I got him. On the river, and yes, look at him, what a stunning mirror. Taken off the river, just literally a rig dropped in the edge. Love that. Now, obviously, it looks like I have only got a bag and a rod, and that's it. There's a little bit more to it, not much, but if you look at the bag closely, you can see I've got a roll mat on the back, and inside that roll mat, I've actually got the landing net. So roll mat, landing net, clip to the bottom of the rucksack, and I've got one rod, so just a single rod with me. But I think the main thing to do is to have a look inside that rucksack, and I'll show you what's inside. Obviously, the hub of my tackle is my rucksack. It's the Progress rucksack. It's a fantastic rucksack because I really like these ones, the bags that open right out at the front like that, so I can just get to absolutely everything. Let's go through exactly what's in here. The first thing at the bottom is a sling, just in case I catch that really special fish. And then I've got two EVA pouches, the larger EVA pouches here, which I'll take you through in a bit more detail as to what's in each one. Camera, and then I've got my pellets literally in a bait tub just there, GoPro's just there, and a couple of rig bins that have just got the rigs in. So that's what's in the main compartment of the rucksack. Then if I go across to the side pocket, I've got my landing net handle, I've got some PVA mesh in there. I've got my bite alarm, and I've got a single bank stick, which we'll look at in a minute because that's really good. A bottle of water, that's about it. And in the other side, I've just got, I won't show you, but I've just got my permits, I've got my forceps, my scissors, stuff like that. So that's it really, that's what's in it. But the interesting thing I think is these EVA pouches. Let's get those out and look in a bit more detail what's actually inside those. So there we are, 2 EVA pouches, the larger size, Progress EVA pouches. Basically I've got one for surface fishing and one for fishing on the deck. So let's quickly look at the one that's for surface fishing. In it I have got some surface bombs, I've got pop-ups in there, I've got the hooks that I want, I've got mega bands and things like that. So there's everything in there that I need to fish on the surface. And then in the other pouch is everything I need to fish on the deck. So I have got yellow pop-ups, quite like using those sometimes. On these sessions I'm predominantly using pellets, but I do sometimes use pop-ups, there's some more. What I am using mainly as hook baits is the pellet O's, so there's some of those in there as well. I don't need many hooks and bits and pieces like that because I've got all my rigs already made up. And then in this little pouch I've got a bunch of small leads. You'll notice a little back lead there. Do sometimes use back leads in these scenarios, quite important to keep the line pinned down. But generally speaking, yeah, little gripper leads, can put a bit of bait in there. Small sort of 2-ounce leads, don't feel like I need to use massive leads. So there you go, the 2 EVA pouches, one for the top, one for the bottom. Mainly fishing on the bottom on these sessions, but it's good to have the surface gear with me, just in case the opportunity arises. Just wanted to take a moment to talk about this. This stays made up in the long pocket of the rucksack. Obviously it's an alarm with an indicator, but what I really wanted to talk about is the bank stick and the thread at the bottom of the bank stick. This means that on this short bank stick, there's no hammering, there's no banging. Remember, quite often I'm fishing early morning sessions, right? I'm almost, amongst these barges, I'm almost fishing right outside someone's bedroom. That's one. So you've got to be really stealthy. It's just a bit of etiquette. But also for the carp, you know, you're only there for a short amount of time, and being able to screw a bank stick into the ground rather than bang it into the ground is actually quite a big deal in this scenario. So there you go, bank stick with a screw on the end. I've come to a very public part of the river. You know, there's a lot goes on during the day in these sections, so I'm keeping my voice down because, you know, I'm fishing right amongst the barges. And what I would say is, yeah, I mean, I think the cyclists and the dog walkers and all those sorts of things, the runners all along the towpath, they put people off, and I can understand why. But if you do come early morning, certainly in the summer, get here at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then just accept that you've got to hand it back to the general public by about 7:30. I think that's a good way of looking at it. And there's some really, really cracking fish and great fishing opportunities in these public spots if you go about it in that way, I think. There's only a couple of little rod knocks. That was a bit crazy. Oh look, the rod's well bent in there. Just being patient, that first run was brutal. Putting up a good scrap, as you'd expect. Flow is quite steady. Oof. Almost. God, they're strong. Come on. Fuck. In the net. In the net. This is it. It's very early morning. I've come down the river with one rod, sneaking between the boats. Look, cracking river carp. They're different from the river. Didn't half rock this one. Stunning. Unbelievable, the rod's gone again. And another fish. Oh, it's only been in the water for about 10 minutes. Looks like another common. Blimey, they're on it this morning. Just as strong. Better condition this one. God, the power. Oof. There it comes, there it comes, there it comes. Oh no, it's stuck on a bit of metal. Come on. Yes, yes. It's in. So, check out this one, always curling up, he's angry. Absolutely stunning, look at him. Simple tactic, strong tackle. You can get fish like this from the river. So how about that? Back-to-back commons on the river. It's incredible, isn't it, what you can catch just with a small bag and just one rod on the river on these little early morning sessions. Talking about the rod, you might have noticed I was using the original Opportunist rod in 10 foot, coupled with an access reel. It's got a place in my heart, this rod. I absolutely love it. I've caught so many nice barbel and carp on it now. I guess what I also use on the rivers quite a lot is the Opportunist XTND, and I think really that probably is what I would recommend. So a 10 foot Opportunist XTND, I would probably couple that with the newer Access 2 reel. That would be a very good setup, and certainly I've used that rod on the river quite a lot successfully as well. May as well have a quick look at the rig. 15-pound line, main line. Definitely don't use any weaker than that on the river for these carp. You're fishing quite tight sort of environments. You know, you've got boats everywhere. You've got a reasonable amount of snags usually on the near and far banks. A bit on that in a minute, actually. No, I'll cover it now. In terms of where you fish, you'll be surprised. Quite often I fish down the middle, and I find that's because the barges, they go down the middle. And what I personally have found is that they carve a bit of a trough down the middle. It's slightly deeper in the middle than it is at the edges. And I personally like to put it right in that trough. And I've experimented with this quite a lot. Obviously it depends on the swim and whether you're even fishing where there are boats. But where there are boats, I do like putting a rig down in that trough. Sorry about that, right? Back to the rig. 15-pound main line. I've got a camo safety clip there. That's holding a 2-ounce lead. Now you might be thinking even 2 ounces is quite a lot when you're underarming, but I want a reasonable amount of lead to facilitate me hooking the fish. Onto the quick change swivel there, I've got a short sleeve. And now onto the rig itself. What I would say is just use a standard sort of carp rig, something that you got confidence in. These fish, they're not very riggy, do you know what I mean? They're not particularly pressured even at all. You know, no one's coming down here and doing this. So don't think you need to go too fandango with your rigs, you know, all your your spinner Ronnie Watson jobbies, don't worry about those. A nice simple strong rig is what you need on the river. All I would say is, yeah, just make sure it's strong, step it up. So yeah, I've got like a fairly short hook length there. It's a braided hook length. I would say use a minimum of 25-pound braid. Mine's a coated braid and I've peeled a little bit off. I've got a kicker there and I've got a nice strong hook. I've got a penetrator size 8 hook there, which I think balances as a nice size with the pellets. Now you could possibly step that up to a 6 or a bigger hook, but I just don't think that they balance that well with 2 little pellets, which I want to use. If you were going to use like a wafter or a boilie or a barrel, you could probably step up that hook size. The way I've mounted these, you might have seen it in other videos, it is a D-rig. It's got a bait screw on it and I can just screw a couple of pellets onto that. So yeah, just to go back to what I was saying, use a carp rig that you've got confidence in. Don't go too clever. Just a basic strong hair rig will do the job. But yeah, do make sure you're using quality components. Make sure it's strong. I bring this little tin. You see there's all sorts of odds and sods in there, isn't there? But the main thing are these little mesh bags. Make them all up at home in advance, and yeah, I bring them along and I always clip one of these onto the rig because mainly to protect the hook point and make sure that the hook point is where I want it to be. Don't want it, there's a lot of twigs and crap on the river through this way. You've got to make sure that you're protecting the hook point, and you can do that quite effectively with just a few small mesh bags full of pellet. Well, we're here again. It's another early morning, another couple of hours to see if we can snatch another fish. Oh, got one on, it's taking a little while. Where's he going? Whew. Yeah, it's a nice common. All commons along here. But very welcome. Smashing. Smashing. A lovely fish from the river. Here it comes, come on. There he is in the net. There we go. This is what I mean by characters on the river. Look, absolutely no barbels at all. And look, we've got ourselves a Nemo. He's missing a peck. Got a tough life, these fish, but I mean, other than that, he's absolutely immaculate. Stunning. So it's all about the commons down here at the moment. Look at him. And I think we'll call this one Nemo. Look, front peck's gone down to nothing. But absolutely stunning. Real characters down here, I absolutely love them. We all know how busy our carp fisheries get, don't we? You know, going to lakes where you're struggling to get a swim, especially through the summer at weekends. You know, it's virtually impossible to get a swim sometimes on a decent fishery, isn't it? Well, maybe give this a go. You know, go early morning, do the short sessions, get on the river. You might not see another angler during your session. Rarely I do sometimes, you know. So just something to think about. Maybe give it a go.